Welcome back, friends. Today we are starting our discussion on learning and about the learner. We will start our conversation with the definition of learning. So let's begin. Learning refers to acquiring new understandings, knowledge, behaviors, skills, values, attitudes, and preferences. Everything in the world possesses the ability to learn, even if it's animals, humans, and machines. There is also evidence for some learning in certain plants. Some learning occurs immediately due to an event, for example, being burned by a hot stove. But sometimes, a great deal of skill and knowledge is acquired through repeated experiences. Learning often causes changes that last a lifetime, so it is hard to distinguish learned material that seems lost or cannot be retrieved. Learning is essential in gaining knowledge and skills to acquire additional work and employment opportunities. The process of learning helps a person realize that in this world, anything is possible, including learning new skills and improving one's chances. Now that we have discussed the definitions, it's time to know the process of learning. The learning process consists of 6 interactive components. These components are 1. Attention and awareness. 2. Memory and recollection. 3. Language and linguistics. 4. Processing and organizing. 5. The graphomotor system, writing. 6. Higher order thinking. Several factors interact with these processes, including emotions, classroom climate, behaviors, social skills, teachers, and family members. Now that we have a brief discussion on the process of learning, let's discuss the types of the learning process. There are 2 broad categories of learning processes. One associative and the second non-associative. Associative learning occurs through pairing to previously unrelated stimuli, whereas non-associative learning occurs in response to a single stimulus. Non-associative learning is a process in which an organism's behavior towards specific stimulus changes over time without any evident link to consequences or other stimuli that would induce such change. Non-associative learning is thus based on frequency. In terms of non-associative learning, habituation and sensitization can be distinguished. Now the question is, what is habituation? In this learning, one or more components of an innate response to a stimulus diminish when the stimulus is repeated. Habituation occurs more quickly for stimuli occurring at a high rate than stimuli at a low rate. And it occurs for weak and strong stimuli, respectively. An unfamiliar sound in your environment, such as a new ringtone, may initially attract your attention or even be distracting. You will become less responsive to this sound as you become accustomed to it. This diminished response is habituation. Now, what is sensitization? In this learning, the progressive amplification of a response follows repeated administrations of a stimulus. A straightforward example of sensitization is that school children are frequently sensitized to the sound of a ringing bell while waiting for the end of the school day. When you know someone important is about to call you, you may experience cognitive sensitization when you wait for your cell phone to ring. Associative learning is how a person or animal learns an association between two stimuli or events. Classical conditioning and operant conditioning are the types of associative learning in which associations are made between events that occur simultaneously. Now let's briefly discuss classical conditioning, which we discussed in the previous class. Classical conditioning involves pairing a previously neutral stimulus with a reflex eliciting stimulus repeatedly until the neutral stimulus produces a response on its own. The classic example of classical conditioning is Ivan Pavlov and his dogs, which we have already discussed in detail. Operant conditioning has also been discussed in the previous class. Operant conditioning is when a behavior that has been reinforced or punished in the presence of a stimulus is more or less likely to occur in the future. It is an associative learning process through which the strength of a behavior is modified by reinforcement or punishment. A procedure is also used to bring about such learning. The operant conditioning chamber, or Skinner box, was created by Skinner to implement his empirical approach. Pigeons and rats were isolated in this chamber and were exposed to carefully controlled stimuli. So that's all for today. In our next class, we will discuss the other types of learning. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in our next class.